Osiris.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Goose Chicks Podcast, an all-women-led show focused on the band Goose and the community that supports them. I'm Leslie Mack, producer and co-host, and on this episode, we're going to discuss our favorite shows and standout moments from Goose's spring tour. We've got a couple interviews from some fans, and today we are joined by our amazing contributors, Chelsea and Hannah. How are y'all doing? How is the beginning of summer-ish treating you, or spring-ish, depending on where you are? Chelsea, is it spring where you are yet?
I'd say it's spring. It's starting to get nice. It's like in the 70s. It's supposed to be hot tomorrow, like 90s. I'm like, what is going on? But yes, I've been able to get outside and go hiking, and that just brings me so much joy. So I've been doing that the past couple weeks, and I'm just really excited for summer and spring and nice weather and being outside.
Oh, yeah. Hannah, how about you? School is over, about to be over. What's the
My final grades, I think I have to submit them on the 8th, so a couple days. And then I'm hitting the road probably maybe Tuesday or Wednesday for Cincy, and slowly going to make my way to Illinois for summer camp. So.
Yes, woo woo. Yes, y'all are going to summer camp. Lex is as well, who's not here today. She's got a lot of work going on.
Is she going?
I thought she was going.
For sure. I thought she was, but I just haven't heard much from her, so I don't know.
I guess we'll find out, eventually. I think she is, though. From what I heard, she was going for sure. But very exciting news is that Goose Chicks Podcast will be on the scene as official media at summer camp. So you will see Chelsea and Hannah doing some interviews and talking to different folks. So it's very exciting. And I can't wait to get all the recordings back and incorporate them into another show. So we're very excited about that. We are going to be doing more of that for festivals, trying to cover them specifically for the show from our unique perspectives. And so look out for that some more. All right. Let's head into our running segments. Our first one is, of course, how did we get down? We decided it was time to talk about the majesty that is Feel It Now, written by Peter. It premiered on the Cap Run 3/11/2023 in Port Chester, New York. It's been played by Goose 7 times since then, which I have to say is a high number considering they just debuted it in March. Mm-hmm. We have some not so official lyrics, but we do have some up here. I'm going to go through the question, and we can talk about the lyrics afterwards. So the first one is like, what do you take away from the song when it's played or you listen to it, you hear it? Hannah, I'll start with you.
When I hear it, so we've talked about how Peter sort of wears his heart on his sleeve when he writes lyrics. But what I was thinking about when I was listening to this song on repeat, sort of preparing for this, is he also wears his music on his sleeve. And what I mean by that is you can so clearly tell what type of music has influenced him, and it's so many different things. And so this is very like synthy 80s. And you just, I can almost picture Peter just like hanging out in his bedroom as a teenager, like listening to all these different records and how that sort of shaped him. So I think that's one cool thing about this song. And then, to me, the lyrics kind of feel like they're about being on tour and being away and from people that you care about. So,
How about you, Chelsea?
To me, this song is like a spring awakening. Like, we all, not all of us, but I guess a lot of people get like seasonal depression, and in the winter and you feel down and just kind of waiting for that time. And now it's awakening and things are coming alive and you're able to get outside. And so that's kind of what it feels like to me. And specifically like in a relationship, when you have those times where it's like you're going through something or one person is going through something, but you can come out of it and you're still together and you're growing together. And so that's kind of what I think about. It's like if you bring that awakening sort of feeling to like a relationship and ebbs and flows of life, you know?
Love that. The first time I heard this, I really was so focused on the beat and the rhythm of the song because it's so dancey. Like I said before, this could be played in a club right now with no problem whatsoever. And it's just so dancey, and I love the flow of it. The lyrics, though, as I started to listen to the song more, I do hear that spring thing is definitely touching, agreeing on that. But also there's sort of this metaphor for depression that I get from the lyrics. Where when you're depressed, it can feel very cold. It can feel very dark. And this is sort of like, come out of that. Like you're allowed to feel it now. And also this idea of being present, which I think is a recurring theme in Peter's songs, and just Peter's life. He's always telling us, to be present in the moment. Mm-hmm. And this song really drives that home as well. And I love the just sentiment of like giving people permission to feel things.
Exactly.
And that's just beautiful. And so, yeah, every time I've heard it, I've just been like, oh, it's so great. And vibes are high when this song starts as too. So talking about lyrics, I'll start. Definitely the chorus about winter is dying. And I know this is the last time I hear you crying. You're allowed, feel it now. I just think that, it just always hits me. And it's also like a rare thing where Rick just joins on those last two lines. You're allowed to feel it now. It's unusual. Usually even Peter songs, Rick's singing a little bit more. And so I really like that little piece that Rick adds into the end of the chorus. So that's my favorite part of the lyrics, and I love them, and just the sentiment and also how it lands on me when I'm hearing them in real time. How about you, Chelsea?
Yeah, you're allowed to feel it now. I think I've said this before. That's just really meaningful. And like you touched on, just you're able to like feel your feelings, whether that's good or bad or what you're going through. But that little piece is just really special. I think sometimes people get in their head like they have to always be happy. They have to always put on this bright face. And you don't. Like you go through times where you need to just have time to like grieve or like be sad and be in your feelings. And that's okay. So I love that.
Yeah, you just made me think too. There's also this notion of like, I don't know, especially as a woman, there's always this like pressure to like not be as demonstrative of your feelings. And so that also hits me there where it's like, they're like, nah, like you can feel it, like be yourself, allow yourself to feel whatever you're feeling. So I love that too. Hannah, how about you? Favorite lyrics from Feel
It? This is going to sound like maybe dumb, but I appreciate that he uses gender neutral terms for his partner.
Yes.
Just because like I think about how as a queer kid, like that representation matters. And so like if there's like teenagers listening to that, and we know that there are people with kids who are LGBTQ plus in the Goose Chicks community, and they hear that and it just makes the music more inclusive, I guess. Mm-hmm. And so I like that part. And yeah, I don't know, Peter lyrics, like they're if you want to feel some feels, that's listen to some Peter songs.
This is a Peter song, true.
If you want to feel it now.
Yeah.
Listen to Feel It Now.
You too can feel it now. It's true. Okay, last question about the song. What energy does Feel It Now bring to a set? Chelsea, I'll start with you.
Again, I just have to go with that like spring awakening feel because it's so dancey and like you just want to bop along. And even the first time they played at the Cap Run and I was there and that was the vibe that first night was like, yeah, we're doing this. We're having fun. And so to me, that's what it is about, like going through a dark time and then you're coming out of it and just like things are brighter and fun and joyful. And so, yeah, that's what I would say.
I love it. Hannah, how about you?
Yeah, I think it's a banger. Yeah. It's, it gets people up and dancing. And I think it would be a good song to play for someone who has eclectic taste in music, and hasn't listened to Goose, just because it's a little bit different flavor.
Yeah.
So
I love it. Yeah, for me, I know something really hits with the fans when literally just the first couple notes and everybody starts screaming immediately, which happened the most recent time they played it at Days Between Fest. Literally it was like boom, 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 and everybody they just lost their shit. And so I was like, yeah, like it's hitting with everybody. Like we're all very into it and excited to hear them play it anytime it comes on. So for me, that's the energy. Like it's one of those songs that people are like, yes, they're playing Feel It Now, Feel It Now, you know. And in such a short time, it's become such a favorite in the rotation. So kudos to Peter and the rest of the band for another banger that we all absolutely love to rock out to.
Yeah, and I will say, like, every time they play the song, that's the first song I go back to when I re-listen. Is like, I want to hear Feel It Now. I love it. It's so good.
Maybe somebody should make a Feel It Now playlist. I might do that. Lucas did that with Lead Up. He's got like just all the times they played Lead Up because he really loves that song. All right, Goose Talk. We had some big news since we last were on these mics, and that is that Goose is taking their show to Europe for the first time. What did y'all think when that happened? Like literally, like they're always doing this. Like right when we're all completely broke, spent all our money on whatever last tour or current tour they're on, and then it's like, bang! Here's this huge, big news. So I'm curious, like, what you all thought of just generally. What was your thoughts about them going to Europe at all? Did you expect it this soon? Yeah, Chelsea, Hannah, either one of you can start.
I was not expecting it. But I think I was the first one that saw it, and I like sent a screenshot to our group chat with just exclamation points. That was all. I was just like, this is happening. I don't know what to say. Just exclamation points. So that's kind of how I felt. And I knew for me, like that wasn't going to be something I was going to be able to do. Just not at this point in time. But so I was just like, oh, that sounds awesome. So, but yeah, very surprised.
Anna, how about you? Were you expecting it now? Do you think it's early? I don't know.
The first thing that popped into my head was Leslie was right, because you kept saying they were going to be doing Europe in 2023, but it's really happening.
Yeah. I wasn't surprised. I just felt like it was time for them to go overseas. They really built such a strong fan base here, and it's one of those things, like if you study music history, so many acts, American acts go to Europe to like break bigger there and then are able to come back here. And so I wonder if this is part of a plan to like get some hits and some, listens over in Europe and then come back even stronger, with some success under their belt from a European tour. So I'm excited. It's 10 cities, 11 shows. I think it's 12 shows now.
No, they added a second night in London, which made it 11.
11 shows. The venue capacities are teeny tiny. One of them is on a freaking boat, y'all. I'm like, wow. We'll put a link in the show notes to the tour dates, but they are skipping and hopping all over Europe. They're going to be in Paris, Cologne, in Denmark, Amsterdam, Copenhagen, Berlin, Brussels. And then they go to the UK for 5 shows, Glasgow, Manchester, Bristol, and 2 shows in London. Very interesting. Very interesting for a few reasons. One, the announcement has not the Goose script logo. It's a new logo, which I think is very interesting. A big, kind of bubble letter-ish vibe to it. I don't know if it's just for the European tour. And then it's November 3rd through the 19th that it's stacked. Like they're going and they're just like ripping and running through Europe the whole time.
Can we also note that they have to be Goose, the American band?
Yes. So that
in Europe.
Yes, it says Goose, and then right underneath it says the American band, because there is a European Goose.
Right.
And so I think I think they're from Belgium, the European version or something like that. And so that's really interesting. Yes, I laughed so hard. I was like, the American band.
Right.
Don't-
They have to
Don't be
differentiate.
confused. Don't be confused. It's us. So I'm really excited. The venue sizes are tiny. Some are like 250, 150 for a couple of them. So I think it's going to be a really fun time. I also think it's going to be interesting. Allegedly, a lot of US fans are heading over there for this. We'll see if that comes to fruition or not. I think it's easy to buy tickets that are like, £40 each versus like getting your passport and flights and travel and
Right.
all the other things that go into all of that stuff. But I will be going for sure for the second half of the tour. I'll be picking it up in Berlin. I have to be here for election week, so I can't go to the early parts. But I'm excited to see them in those last half of the show, more than half, last 2/3 of the run, and very psyched for the UK shows. I think they're going to be really fun. Cool, a lot of very cool venues. So we'll see what happens over there in Europe and what kind of shenanigans all the Goose fans will get into while we're up there. So yeah, check that out. We'll put the link in our show notes as well, but you can also just go to goosetheband.com/tour and check it out yourself. I heard that they sold out everything. So
Wow.
wowzers. Off that alone is really interesting. Yeah, I think I heard they sold out quite a few, except for like Amsterdam or something like that. But I know the London shows sold out. I think all the UK shows sold out. I think Paris sold out as well. So yeah. Hannah, you're going to go to a couple shows too, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely doing the last 3 shows. So Bristol and both London. I'm super excited. I wish that it was following week and then I could go to like all of the shows. But with work, that's what I can do. It'll be really fun though. And the people I'm going with, we've been talking about doing Europe together for a while now. So this was the thing that sort of pushed us. We were like, yeah, I guess we're doing it finally. So
yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, I'm going to turn the mic over to Chelsea to talk about our fan art spotlight for this week.
Yeah, so today we wanted to talk about Cats Under the Stitch by Michaela. So this actually came up because Hannah had sent the link in our group chat to these awesome jackets they were, but they had like Goose t-shirts sewn into them. So they were like Goose jackets. She had sent that to our group chat and we all thought it was awesome. So I talked a little bit to Michaela about her business, and she makes handmade upcycled designs. They have t-shirts, stickers, pins, but she also does like I was talking about, upcycled one-of-a-kind garments where she secondhand buys the fabrics. She doesn't want them going to a landfill, so she's doing her part that way. And recently she's been upcycling band t-shirts, and she's starting to focus on summer, concert, and festival clothing for all gender shapes and sizes. She also works with her partner, Shane, who helps create designs that they have on t-shirts, stickers, and pins, and that sort of thing. I was looking at her website. She doesn't have those jackets anymore, I don't think, because they're one of a kind. And so things go fast on her website. Like if you don't get it quickly, it's probably gone because there's only one version of it. But she does have some cool upcycled jackets. She has this awesome Life is Ted graphic that they put on things. They have buttons and pins and t-shirts with it. And it has like a smiley face looking guy on it. So that's cool. She does have some upcycled shorts and skirts right now that have like these cool geese on them sewn into them. So she's hand sewing all of these too. So check them out at Cats Under the Stitch on Instagram, and they have a website, catsunderthestitch.com.
Awesome. Yeah, the website's very cool. All the stuff that I want, she's sold out of. So they come. That one Goose shirt looks very cool. It's like a crop top with like.
Yeah, I saw that too. So I'm
I
gonna
saw that and I was like, man, we would all rock that.
Definitely all rock that for sure. It's very.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where they're one of a kind, so it has to be like in your size and like the perfect thing, and then it's like so unique to you too. That's what I love about it.
And I think definitely follow her on IG because I know she posts on there like the sizes and stuff when it's
Mhm.
and stuff there. So if you follow her there, that's a good way to make sure you see things first. Awesome. Podcast flow, and I'm going to turn it over to Hannah for this.
All right, everyone. So this week we're doing something a little bit different. We want to hear from y'all. If you have your own unique, awesome podcast, send us your information and we might just feature it on our podcast Flowdown.
Awesome. I just want to do a quick test. Can y'all hear this?
Yeah, we're like,
Yeah, you can. Okay. So I was at the San Francisco shows last month or last week. I don't know anymore, guys. But I was at the San Francisco shows at the Warfield, and I got to do a couple of interviews. And so we're going to play a few throughout this show. So here's our first one from Tony.
All righty. Tell me your first name and where you're from.
My name is Tony, and I'm from Maui, Hawaiian Islands.
Awesome. How did you discover Goose?
Just hearing it from friends for a while, and then I finally dove in on the recommendation of the infamous Peach Fest set
Yes.
2019. And then that's when I kind of like started listening to him with more intention. And then, yeah, over the pandemic, we started watching every stream and really getting in touch with all the ebbs and flows of the Goose.
The Goosedom.
Yes.
I love it. How do you describe Goose's sound for someone who's never heard them before?
I would say the first thing I always mention is they write great songs that
Mhm.
I think a lot of people can relate to in different ways.
Yeah.
And so I think it's with this band, I think you can always just kind of start with the songs and then, go from there.
Go from there. I love it. What's your favorite thing about the way Goose interacts with their fans from the stage?
I mean, well, it's probably a little more indirect, but like I like watching Rick quarterbacking, doing the visual cues to the other guys. I mean, it's not really so much interacting with the crowd,
Right.
but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of that stuff that goes on too. I mean, Peter's actually really great with that.
Yeah.
But for me, like that's the interaction that I'm kind of always trying to pay attention
Yeah,
to
I
and
love
see.
that. Just the little nuances of, because they're having musical conversation, but then there's also
Exactly.
visual cues and movement that they're indicating to
Yes.
each other.
The meta conversation.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I love that this tour, they've had the internal mic that they can just talk to each
Yep.
other.
Yep.
So that's been really cool.
When he
to
turns
watch
around
Rick
and
just
does the little,
yeah. I'm like, oh, what do you tell him this time?
You guys are killing. You guys are killing.
We're
You guys are killing it right now.
We're
Yeah.
doing this one.
Yeah.
What Goose lyric gets stuck in your head right now?
Wow, that's a tough one. I'm gonna say, what a day to be living right now. We had some great weather in San Francisco. The rain stayed away. Sun's out.
Love it. What's the most creative Goose-related gift you've received or given?
I would say I made I 3D printed some Goose chips and was handing them out for Goosemas, and I feel like that was a hit. A lot of people love those. But I mean, the generosity and being part of this is great. Everyone's got some different stickers and kind of making this more of a community thing by sharing their arts and wares. So,
all right, last question. How has Goose's music impacted your life?
I mean, I've been, going to live shows for about 25 years, and I kind of figured that my experience was like over as far as like getting that youthful, that exuberance and just feeling completely at one with it. And so I think that's been the biggest thing for me, is it's really revitalized me.
I love it.
Thanks, Tony. Wasn't that the cutest? I
love that so much.
We love Tony so very much. And yeah, he was able to do all the West Coast tours. Drew and Tony are good friends, and they're great. Him and his partner Molly, shout out to them. It was really fun doing these interviews at San Fran. I did most of them in line because there was like a lot of time in line, and people were excited to talk about, how Goose makes them feel and stuff like that. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Yeah. the forest lost, tired of breathing true. Like snow, we out, swallowed in the winter stay, close to me, won't you? I wanted to stay so long, winter is dying now. No, it's the last time I hear you crying now.
All right, welcome back. We're going to play one more interview from San Francisco from the Warfield shows. This is Amanda. Let's see what she has to say.
Great.
Wait, I should have been listening to what you were asking.
No, I want you to have your own answers. All right, here we go. First of all, what's your first name and where are you from?
My first name's Amanda, but I go by Jolly. 'Cause
Okay.
That's my last name.
Yeah.
I live in New Jersey.
Okay. Where in Jersey?
Maywood.
Okay.
In Bergen County.
Yeah.
North
My
Jersey.
mom lives up there in Teaneck, so I know
Oh,
exactly.
very close.
know
Yeah.
Jersey girls don't pump gas.
We
Yes.
love Jersey girls.
Yes. How would you describe Goose's sound to someone who's never heard them before?
I'm stressed. I'm panicking. I would say fun. And I always say the word groovy, but I don't mean in like a retro groovy way, like
There's a group.
get in the groove. Yeah.
I love it.
And I was just saying, like, we come from the fish world. I was just saying, I think it's like a little more accessible, which I think is word, but yeah, like, I think
I
it's
agree
like
with that.
easier listening for outsider
Yes.
people.
The lyrics help, right?
Yeah.
It's very useful.
And Rick's voice.
I mean, and just Rick. I mean, if we're being honest, and just Rick.
Yeah.
Hey Rick, if you're listening, shout out. What's your favorite thing about the way Goose interacts with fans from the stage? Like how they are on stage with us?
I feel like Peter interacts the most, right? I like that he takes the pictures. And was it at the Cap? He like went and took a close-up picture of people, and we were on the rail the first time, so we weren't in the picture. So then we started screaming. We're like, "What the fuck? What about us?" So then he came and took our picture, and then started going down the stage and taking every picture.
Love this.
So embarrassed.
What Goose lyric is stuck in your head right now?
So we had a life-changing experience during the Rockdale at the Cap. So always going down to the Rockdale.
I love it. How would you describe the Goose
Oh my God.
community?
A lot of questions.
There's only two more. That's
No, I'm
it.
kidding. I think very like friendly and welcoming.
Awesome. Last one. How has Goose's music impacted your life?
I feel like it's just made me excited about something new. I like have been going to fish for a long time, and then I was like kind of more out of the live music scene for a few years and got more back into it the past like year or two. So it's exciting to like find something that I love a lot again.
I love it. All right.
Hey, Rick, if you're listening, I just want to say that officially. Thanks, Amanda, for taking some time to chat with us. I appreciate it. I love her laugh. So funny. And agreed with like all of her responses as well. So many people mentioned to me just that like Goose has gotten them. I keep hearing this refrain of like, I haven't been this excited about a band. I haven't spent this much effort, money on a band in such a long time. And so that's definitely a recurring thing that I've been hearing from people. All right. I guess it's time to talk about Spring Tour a little bit, which was, I don't know, y'all. Every time I think these guys can't top themselves, they do another tour, and I'm like, wow, they really just put it all out on the stage. So this was I thought quite a long spring tour. They were really working very, very hard. Started March 23rd in Boston and ended in San Diego on April 29th. And they were touring pretty much nonstop throughout that. And I was excited because they had a lot of shows that were multiple nights, which I always loved them doing runs. So they played Philly 2 nights, Nashville 3 nights, Chicago 2 nights, Seattle 2 nights, and San Fran 2 nights. There was a lot of, and Bozeman as well, 2 nights, sorry. Shout out to Bozeman. And I love that. I just love that they're able to get a little more comfortable on stage. I also think like there is something for them and for the crew not having to take down everything the first day, that they get a little bit more rest in between day 1 and day 2. And also they get a better feel for the venue. I think it was the Met. I think the staff told me that like Peter had everybody come in at like 10 a.m. that day 2 because he didn't like the mix and he wanted to fix it that morning. So yeah, I think it allows them some time to like really work out the kinks and stuff. And obviously some eventful stuff happened night 1 in Seattle, the show that almost never happened, but shout out to Sam King and her entire crew. Sam is a tour manager for Goose who literally got everything working again with the sound because there was quite a bit of difficulty with the sound the first night in Seattle, but they got it together, played a ridiculously amazing set after they got back on. And then night 2 obviously was smooth sailing. So another thing was that this entire run was streamed on Nugs. If you were a subscriber, you didn't have to pay extra, which I thought was really amazing and inclusive for folks to be able to enjoy the shows. And I don't know, it felt like everybody was there, even if they weren't there, to me anyways, because I knew everybody was watching on Nugs. So that was really fun. All right, so we'll start with what shows were you at? Hannah, we'll start with you. What shows were you at?
I did Cleveland and the Chicago run. So I was I am thankful now that I didn't do as many shows. I talked about doing some other ones as well, but it's just more money for Europe. So
Yes, I love it. Chelsea, how about you? Where'd you pop into?
I only did Madison and the 2 Chicago shows. So, which was kind of smack dab in the middle of the tour. And I thought that was good for me. So, yeah.
Stellar shows. Also, they played some really historic venues on this run, which was really exciting. And it was their first time playing most of them. I'm going to be embarrassed, but I did. The Philly run, Cleveland, all 3 nights in Nashville, Birmingham, Wisconsin, both Chicago dates, and then the 2 San Francisco dates. So I did quite a bit of the tour, mostly because I said I really wanted to. I've never been to the Sylvia. I really wanted to go see them play there. I really wanted to see them play the Ryman for the first time. And I love Philly. So anytime I have an excuse to go there, I go. And some of them just felt like, Philly wasn't far to drive to Cleveland. So we just tacked that on, and same with Nashville and Birmingham, which was an interesting show as well. And then we all did the Midwest shows together. Y'all should definitely check out our previous episode where we do a recap of the Chicago shows in depth, which was really fun. And then the Tuesday before the Warfield shows is when I decided to go to San Francisco. Drew was doing them already, and I just was like, 2 shows. Tickets weren't that bad, and I used miles to get out there. So, and Drew was already going to be there, so the hotel was there. So I just was like, forget it. I'm just going to go. So, and I'm glad I did. They were really amazing. Again, I've never been to the Warfield, and watching them play it for the first time, another historic venue, was really cool. All right. Favorite moment from an in-person show. We'll start with you, Hannah.
I think just the Chicago run was very magical for me because I love Chicago. My sister got to go to a show with me. We were celebrating a couple people's birthdays. So, yeah, that run was magical for me. And we also got pretty much every song on our wish list except for Factory Fiction, what show was that? Was that they got it recently? Were you at the show where they played it?
I was not. I feel like it was St. Paul. I have to look again. Don't quote me on that, people. But
yeah,
I think it was like San Diego or something.
No, it wasn't that show. I would have been super salty if it was that show because the shows I maybe was going to go to. But I think it was one of the Midwest shows. So other than that, yeah, we got all of our songs we wanted. And so I guess if you try to manifest a song, which we were trying to manifest Animal Night 2 for Chicago, and then it actually gets played, I feel like that's always a special moment. So I'm going to go with that. We dressed up in animal prints, and then they played Animal. So
love it. It was Seattle, by the way, where they played.
Seattle they played, which makes sense because it was night 1 of Seattle. They were really, night 2 Seattle. Forget the date.
The 23rd.
That's the second night. Second night of Seattle, they played it. It had been 28 shows since they had played Factory Fiction, which was at 2022's Goosemas. Was the last time they had played it. So it's been a while. Definitely not heavy in the rotation these days, and a lot of people are chasing it. So yeah, I definitely understand that. Chelsea, how about you? Stand out, in person show moment for you?
Yeah, I have a couple things I just wanted to mention quickly, but obviously I brought my parents to the Madison show, so we were right up on the rail. They had fun, so I can't, that has to be a favorite moment from the show.
Mhm.
And afterwards, I was talking to my mom because she kind of was like, I don't really get the jams, she was kind of, and I was explaining to her how it's like meditative and you kind of get lost in the jam and it's very healing. And I was like, it's sound healing. And she's like, oh, because she teaches yoga. She uses sound healing all the time. And she was like, oh, you're right. And it kind of clicked for her. And so that was cool talking to her and kind of connecting in that way about the show. But also I just have to give an honorable mention to Trev dancing at Salt Shed because we had so much fun, Trev and I don't know. I mean, I feel like we did. So that was awesome to me. Really just stands out to me. And that's what I think of when I think back of just like us dancing, and it was fun. And then real quick, I did want to shout out Western Sun Foundation because I did volunteer while I was in Chicago with them. And nonprofits are near and dear to my heart. And so anything I can do, I try to. I also volunteer with them at the Cap Run. So if you're at a run where they are putting on a volunteering event, we just went to like other nonprofits in the area. So we went to a nonprofit in Chicago, volunteered for a couple hours. We were pulling diapers and stuff that they give away to families in need. So if you're able to do that, please try to. I know sometimes it's like, not really what you're trying to do between sleep and everything, but it does make a difference and makes you feel good. And thank you to them for putting that on and giving us that opportunity too. So
Absolutely. I'm really racking my brain to think of a like actual moment. Well, I guess I got to meet Peter's mom, Rita, in Nashville. She happened to be seated next to our friend Michael, along with Peter's sister, Lindsay. And it's a long story. I'd brought Michael some cheesecake, and Rita mentioned she was like, where'd you get that? She's like, my friend got it. So Michael texted me, he was like, Rita wants some cheesecake. So I brought like a plate of cheesecake down to her from the little lounge space that we had, and got to talk with her a little bit. I won't talk about what we discussed, but it was really amazing just to talk with her. And it's just so obvious, how much of an impact she has had and continues to have on Peter as a person and as a musician. And so the addendum to that is in Birmingham, somebody got engaged at that show, another engagement at a show at Birmingham. And so they had a sign up that we just got engaged, and, Peter was so excited for them and everything. So he came down after the show. And so once he's down on the rail, like it turns into like, he just does the whole rail because he's just big hearted like that. So he got to us and he's like, give me your phone to take a picture. He's like, so Leslie, I heard you were hanging out with my mom last weekend. And so it was really funny. I was just like, oh, I didn't expect her to like tell him. I don't know why, but it was really funny that he like kind of called me out that I was hanging out with Rita. So that was a really amazing moment and very cool. I also really loved the Philly shows, generally speaking. The Met is such a beautiful venue, and the sound was impeccable. The lights were, Getty's team just killed that venue. So I just remember that being visually really amazing and really, really, really fun. They even had projected, this wasn't Getty's team, but they had projected onto the side of the Met a whole like goose like scene on the whole building. Even in the like windows, they had different things moving and stuff. Drew and I probably stood out after the show for like 15 minutes just staring at it to watch the entire cycle. And so it was those little things that just really stood out for me. And then I want to shout out Naveed and his team because they had special shirts for several of the runs, which is unusual. They have not done this very much. So they had special shirts for Philadelphia, for Nashville, for Chicago, for Seattle and for San Francisco. And so I just think about the logistics of having special shirts for different runs adds so much more to their workload. So shout out to them for that extra bit of merch that we all were able to get. And they were cute and really, city specific. And I really love that as well. All right. Favorite moment from Couch Tour. I'll start this one off. My favorite moment from Couch Tour was definitely the issues that were happening night one in Seattle, only because we were getting text directly from the venue, like updating us in real time. So like a bunch of our friends were there and they were like, this is what's going on. This is happening. Pete just came out and said this, because we couldn't really see on the screen exactly what was going to happen. I was like, oh my gosh, are they going to have to cancel the show? Like what's going on? And so it was nice to just hear from people in the room, like what the vibe was like, how people were, and not feel as cut off from whatever was happening, because it was so stressful. I was like feeling the stress from where I was sitting, across the entire country, for the staff, for the crew, for the band, for the venue, and obviously for the fans that were there to see as well. So that was just nice that we were able to be in contact with people that were in the room and just have them tell us like what was going on and how often they were getting updates and things like that. I know it was a little difficult to get back into it. I'm sure it was for the band, but Rick came out and just jammed out immediately and took everyone to the next level and just kept it going. Also, I've never seen Rick mad before, and so that was very interesting to watch.
I think it created that 44-minute echo, wasn't it?
It did. Yeah, 40, almost 45 minutes. Yeah, and it made me think about how, these guys take their music so seriously. I wouldn't call them perfectionists, because I don't think that they aim for perfection, but I do think they consider themselves very professional and very well run. And so I could just see Rick was really frustrated that that's not the product they were serving in that moment. And so, but I love, that they were showing their emotions and that they too were frustrated with what was happening. And I always come back to like, they're human beings. We need to make sure we treat them like human beings. And so for me, that was just like a human moment. And the skill they have to even just bounce back after something like that is just a testament to their dedication to their craft and to delivering what the fans would like to see. So shout out to them. And again, special shout out to Sam King and the entire crew, because that was a lot of work they did to make sure that things got back up. From what I understand, they literally had to rebuild the entire sound system to get it back up and running. And they did that in record time. So kudos to Sam. We love you. Hannah, how about you? Couch Tour favorite moment?
Probably, I know Chelsea, I think you're gonna talk about this one, but the Eugene show, just because that was the Couch Tour that, or like the show that I did from the couch, where I had the highest number of friends who were also couch touring at the same time. Mm-hmm. So it was really fun because it felt like I was almost at a show, because I'm like, oh, what's Chelsea doing right now? And like our little chat, and like, what's Tyler and Andy doing right now in our little chat and stuff like that. So I would say that has to be my favorite, because it's just a cool experience to be like, we have friends all over the country and we're all on our couch right now watching this same show at the same time. And like, that's magical. You know what I mean? I feel like I use that word too much when I'm talking about Goose. But it is. So. We have this connection and this fandom, and these guys just, they make, no matter how you're experiencing their music and their live shows, they make it special. And so like, Leslie, you touched on the fact that they made the streaming free if you had a Nugs account. Like, who does that? You know what I mean? But they want to make sure that they know they have a lot of fans who can't make it to a lot of shows. And so they want to make sure that they're being inclusive. You know what I mean? And so, that Eugene show.
Yeah, I think that's very true. Just couch touring generally is such a connective place. I know like Goose's Love and El Goose and even Goose Chicks, there's like a thread for each show. And people are just in there just commenting, naming songs and talking about how, oh my God, that was so sick and things like that. So yeah, it's a community experience for sure. Chelsea, how about you?
Yeah, I was going to say the same as Hannah. The Eugene show was really special because we were all watching it together texting and talking about it. We got that awesome Born, which was amazing because I remember in our group chat, we were all like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. And I remember saying that night, like, this is a special show. Like, I wish I was there. So Eugene, and it was also special because, well, first of all, Leslie's husband was there, Drew. And he had texted me before the show started a selfie. He's so cute of him, and he was wearing the goose shirt that I had dyed for him, and he loved it. He was so excited. So I knew that he was wearing my dye to the show that night, and then he was front row on the rail, so I was able to see him on the stream and him rocking out. So that was kind of cool and special. So shout out to Drew. He's awesome. But then also when the band came out, I noticed Jeff was in tie-dye, and I was like, that has to be a Western Sun tie-dye. I know it. So Tanya from Western Sun had told me that she was going to gift the guys some shirts in Eugene. That's her hometown show. And she wanted to give them some shirts. And so her and I had talked because we both do tie-dye. So we chat a little bit. And so as soon as Jeff came out, I was like, that's Tanya's tie-dye. That's Western Sun. I know it. I was so excited. I texted all of you guys, like, I think he's wearing Tanya's tie-dye. I messaged Tanya. I was like, is he wearing your tie-dye? Like, so excited. She was at the show. So she actually messaged me back at set break and was like, yeah, he is. Oh my gosh. And she was so excited. And that's just a really big deal. So shout out to Tanya and Western Sun tie-dye. Check her out. She does amazing work. And shout out to Jeff for supporting her too and rocking her tie-dye on stage.
Yeah, awesome. Go on, gang. I love that. I love it. I did want to mention one, like Drew planned his entire trip out there around your shirt, Chelsea. He was like, I'm so excited to wear this. And also he didn't realize you had put some glow in the dark spots on the shirt. And so he didn't see that they glowed until he was at the venue. And he was like, what's that? He's like, oh, that glows. Oh my gosh. Like the little spaceman you had glowing. And he was so it tickled him so much because he didn't expect that. And so shout out to you for doing such an amazing job with the shirt, which was a New Year's shirt that he had you do, which was just, you did an amazing job. It was fantastic.
Yeah. I don't know if the glow was me actually, but
I think so. Because
it might have been one of the colors I used. Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't know. It might have been one of the colors I used, but was not intentional. So either way, it turned out dope.
Turned out amazing.
That's awesome.
So good. All right. Standout show overall. Which one do you find yourself re-listening to? I have to say Night 2 Philly is probably heaviest in my rotation, generally speaking. I just love the ebb and flow of the show itself. And some of my favorite versions of the songs they played that night. So that's the one that I've had downloaded from the day it was up on the boards. And when I'm getting dressed and I can't think of what to listen to, I put that show on often, very often. I think I listened to it just yesterday, actually. How about you, Hannah?
Chicago Night 2, which is interesting because I don't know why, but I do this thing where I usually don't listen to shows I've been to on repeat a lot. But for some reason, that one I have been, so.
Love it. Chelsea, how about you? What's the one you keep coming back to?
Chicago Night 1. A lot of people say Night 2. I've heard between the two, but for me, Night 1 was just so much fun. I keep listening. I think it's the second set where it's that hunger site. Hello.
Yeah.
It's so good. Into the mist, and then they end up into Seekers, and that was a whole, very big vibe for me. So, Chicago Night 1. For
Love
sure.
it. I love we all had different ones. I love that.
Yeah.
That second night at the Met, they played everything I love. They closed the first set with Thatch and opened the second set with Animal. And also was a 4-song second set, which I've come to really enjoy. Means we're getting deep into the jams, which is amazing. Which they did at the festival at Days Between Fest. I was shocked. The first night, the second set was just 4 songs. They definitely didn't treat it as a festival set, which I've seen festival sets from them in an hour. They just play a few songs. This was 2 sets and an encore, all 3 nights, both nights, sorry. And so it was very, deep in the catalog and very much. It was a goose show. It was not a festival set at all, which was really amazing. Well, I guess I'm supposed to talk about Days Between next, so that's a good segue. I was there, and there were several sit-ins on the show, which was really amazing. I was lucky enough to be able to shoot the festival as a photographer and as media. So it was a little different for me in terms of just kind of like, you know, I don't know, getting into show space, but also trying to like make sure that I was working and getting good shots and things like that. So that was really interesting. Just the whole, just that whole thing was really interesting to me. They did that first night. Again, they had a 4 song second set: Tumble, Western Sun, Arrow into Cinderman. And that Arrow into Cinderman, if y'all have not listened to it, please run, don't walk, and get to it, because it was really, really something special. Very, very cool. And they opened with Drive and then went to Dr. Darkness like seamlessly. I find their transitions have gotten so smooth lately. And so I've been really paying attention to, one, how they come out of the jam and back to the song, or how they transition to a new song. It's a very unusual skill, and they have gotten really, really good at it. So I've been really excited to see that. And then the second night, I don't know what else I could have asked for in that second night. They played California Magic. They played Lead Up. They played No Rain with David Shaw on vocals. They played freaking Thatch again for me. And then they had the horn section, Josh Schwartz on baritone sax, Greg Sanderson on tenor saxophone, and Chris Browers on trumpet. And they came out and played Hot Tea to end the first set, which was very, very cool. Along with Neil Francis on keys. And Neil Francis, I shot him earlier. And so he had been wearing this like really beautiful, like lace button down white shirt for his set. But when he came out to play with Goose, he matched Peter, and they both wore striped shirts. It was the cutest thing. So I'm hoping some of those photos turn out really great. I got some really great shots of Neil in his set. So I'm hoping I got some good ones from that too. I'll be editing a lot this weekend. And so when the horns came out, we all were like, oh, Fish in the Sea, because we know they love to play Fish in the Sea with horns. We heard that during the Taboosh tour, but then they played Hot Tea, and it was just jammed.
Really good.
So freaking good. And so we were like, okay, well, that's cool, blah, blah, blah. They do Hunger Sight directly into Feel It Now. Amazing versions. The horns came back out, and of course, then it was time for Fish in the Sea. And so that was really great. And then the sun has set by this point, and when I tell you it was a huge freaking moon, I mean enormous, not quite full, because I think the full moon was last night, but it was really big, super bright in the sky. And Rick starts Silver Rising, and we all just were like, oh, just like literally started howling. It was so cute. And then they finished with Empress, which y'all know is one of my favorite closers. Just we all get to be all together and feeling the love and rhythm together was really, really amazing and so good. And yeah, I can't say enough. It was just really fun. A few notes about the fest itself, things that I really loved about it. One was they did not have any competing bands. So it was 2 stages, and they basically bounced from one stage to the other in terms of acts. So you could sit in one place and listen to all the music at one time, or you could go from stage to stage, but you didn't have to like choose between bands to see everything. I saw every single show, every single act, at least for most of their acts, which was really good. Eggy was excellent. Lawrence, who played the main stage, I've never heard of this band before. They were fantastic. Definitely check them out. I'm going to try and see them as soon as I can. Same with Eggy, same with David Shaw, same with Neil Francis. I mean, it was just a stellar lineup and such an eclectic mix. George Porter's set was really amazing. I got a set list from their really dope background singers who were also had some amazing choreography. Lawrence's horn section do whole choreography in the midst of the show, like kicking their feet together and back feet kicking. And it was just such a spectacle and so beautiful. And then the other one I wanted to mention was, of course, Tank of the Bangas, who just killed it. Just beautiful, gorgeous, luscious, lovely. Everybody was very good. I thought that it was really well run. Ample water for everyone, ample everything. Food trucks were there all day. We had VIP, so there was like air conditioned bathrooms and indoor like space to be in. So I hope that Goose plays this fest again, because it's one of the best run fests I've been to in a long time, and I can't think of one thing to complain about. And I talked with other people. Lots of Goose folks were there. Lucas, shout out to Lucas. Tamara was there, and who else was there? Justin and Dawn were there. Literally so many people. Bree, Noah, Travis from Louisville. I mean, it was so many of us, and it was great to just have a crew. So they had 2 after shows. The first night, Eggy played an after show at the Howlin' Wolf that we went to, and we got there, and Drew and I were like, okay, where should we stand? And then he was like, our people are over there. So we just like went over there, and I was like, So we all just were hanging out all together to watch that show, and most of Goose was there too, to watch Eggy set. Peter, Jeff, and I think I saw Ben as well. Yeah, and Ben, all were there to watch that set, which was really cool. And then the second night was the Days Between band, which, this was at Tipitina's, and it was just, I don't even know what to say about it. I think I'll share on our notes too. I'll share the sound from it, but it was like all covers and just the most amazing talent on the stage. And a highlight for me was Don't Do It, which is one of my favorite songs. Rick just sounded amazing. Sneaking Sally's Through the Alley was really good, but Jennifer Hartwig and Rick did a duet on Use Me, and that girl's voice is just, her range is insane, and her and Rick just played really well off of each other. And then they did their encore, Turn On Your Love Light, and it was just the perfect like ending to the set. It was just really fun, and shout out to everybody that put that together. It was really amazing to see all these great musicians coming together. So that's my report from Days Between. It was really, really great. And I got to shoot Goose for the first time the second night, which was really fun. And hope to do it again soon. And next up is summer camp. Chelsea, I'm gonna turn this over to you, because you, Chelsea and Alexius, I think, or you two certainly are gonna be covering the show, covering the fest for us and for Osiris. So talk about it. What's on the agenda for summer camp?
Yeah, so summer camp is Goose's next show. They actually have a little bit of a break now. They'll be playing May 26th. It is in Chillicothe, Illinois, so it's real close to me. And they're going to be playing 2 sets on Friday night. So I think they play one set, then they have a little break, then they'll play another. And like Leslie said earlier, Hannah and I will be there for sure. And we'll be doing on-site interviews and trying to talk to folks about Goose, but also about what other bands they're there to see, festivals in general, and kind of just what the whole experience is all about. So if you catch us or see us and want to talk to us, let us know at summer camp. And Hannah, do you have anything to add about summer camp?
I just dawned on me that this will be my first time seeing Goose at a festival.
Yeah,
So I'm
interesting.
Nice.
This will be my first time seeing or at a festival, camping at a festival.
Oh, really? Wow. Oh,
I mean, I've done I saw them at Sacred Rose and
Okay.
one day type festivals. I've done
yeah.
plenty of those, but never camped a whole weekend at a festival. So this shall be a new experience for me too. So
it'll be a good one. I've been wanting to go to summer camp for a long time. A lot of my friends go almost every year. So I'm excited. Yeah, it's going to be.
yeah, I have a lot of friends going too, because it's, like I said, close to me. So I know,
Yeah, it's in your
the
backyard.
Quad Cities crew will be up there. Tons
yeah.
of people will be seen, but I'm really excited about it. And I'm really excited for 2 sets because, like Leslie was saying, I hope they take it as a show and not a festival set that sometimes we know that happens just because it is trying to appeal to a wide array of people and that sort of thing, and you have less time. And so sometimes it's just different, but hopefully they do it like it, give these people, and especially a lot of people seeing them the first time, like a show experience is what I'm hoping. So
I also think with the audience that summer camp attracts and the lineup this year, especially, you're going to have a lot of people there who are very either super into Goose already or very Goose curious. Like they know who Goose is, at least. Goose is on the radar, that sort of thing. Like just looking at the lineup, you can see that. And so I think that, I hope, but I think that will sort of maybe influence the type of set they do, So yeah, it'll be good. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, I do not envy you. I was looking at this set of this lineup, and I'm like, holy, this is a lot of music, and there's a lot of choices you're gonna have to make to decide where you're gonna, put yourselves to see. I mean, Jen Hartswick's band is playing, Eggy's playing, Maggie Rose, Talk featuring Kanika Moore. I'm just looking at a few. Dogs in a Pile, Eggy. Yeah, this is very. Melt is playing as well. We were talking about them earlier because they played. Days Between as well. Very good band as well. Yeah, it's just a lot. And that's like even the lower, tiers, but like Lotus and Corey Wong and me. It's Papadosio. It's really the Wailers are playing. I mean, y'all are going to have a lot to think through. And that's the lower levels. At the top levels, we've got Humphrey McGee's Mo, Willie Nelson and Family, Goose, of course.
I'm getting goosebumps. I'm so
Literally.
excited.
Mastodon, Disco Biscuits. I mean, I don't know what else you could
Wolfpack.
I literally, it's going to be fantastic. I'm so excited that y'all going to be there to cover it and talk to people. It's going to be pretty dope. So that's exciting. And yeah, Goose is kicking off their summer tour with quite a few. They're doing this. They're doing Railbird and Cathead before they jump into their individual shows for summer tour. So that's very exciting. You guys can check out more information because you can still buy tickets to summer camp, summercampfestival.com. I'm going to play one more. I'm going to play one more interview. This one is from Catherine. Let's see what she had to say in San Francisco.
Screams. If they scream, it's fine. That's why the microphones are useful. Okay. What is your first name and where are you from?
Catherine in San Diego.
Awesome. How did you discover Goose?
Well, I don't know. A friend of mine, Andy Gadiel, who this is a sound name droppy, but he was the dude who one of the original jam bass people from Fish back in the day. And he was like, you have to go see this band and his music, taste of music is very good. And I trust him because he's like a person who knows when stuff's coming. And he was like, listen up, follow this, check it out. And they came and played with Pigeons at the Belly Up and we were hooked. That was it.
Love it. How would you describe Goose's sound to someone who's never heard them before?
I found the music to be like actually really spiritual and like have some ethereal elements to it, but I think it's also grounded in like old school 70s psychedelic rock and roll. So I call it like psychedelic jam band with the ethereal spiritual edge.
Love it.
Anybody, right?
Listen, we're making a whole word cloud from that question because people's responses have been really interesting. What's your favorite way to share your love of Goose with other people?
Well, first of all, I'm just trying to turn as many people onto Goose as I can, and it's slowly happening. And like my friend said this morning, we have a lot riding on these Warfield shows because there's new people coming and we want them to love it. We're like, we're going to do crazy shit with this band for the next 10 years and we want them to come with us.
Yeah.
So we're trying to hook as many people up as possible.
Hook them in now. I love it.
And I'm also really trying to get involved in the community. Like I love watching a new tribe be born, like rhythms and patterns and symbols and language and signs. And I love it. I love watching Goose chicks be formed. And
I love it.
It's awesome.
What Goose lyric is stuck in your head right now?
Probably go everywhere, see everything, but it's because my husband's wearing on his hat right now.
I love it. How would you describe the Goose community?
Emerging and also very kind. So much community involvement. It's the only rail I've ever been on that's held together by older Grateful Dead.
Yep.
Some old school Deadheads. And I've watched them bring younger women up to the rail to make sure that they have a positive experience. So I know it's turning right now as everything grows, but I've just found it to be super positive and super inclusive.
Love it. How has Goose's music impacted your life?
I am falling in love with the band again. I'm a super big 93 fish head, and this whole feeling of discovering something again, but with my husband from the start and with my old fish friends from the start. It's just so cool. I love falling in love with a band again.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, she almost made me cry. So I just want
Wow.
to
Yeah, her answers were so good. Like how to describe their sound. I don't think I've heard someone say ethereal before, but I said that when we were talking about, I think the Madison show, Peter was doing something and I used that word. And so that was interesting to hear that.
Yeah, it's been fun.
love that.
They've been playing so much with their sound and different things that they've been bringing in, especially in the jams areas. A lot more type 2 jams that have been just coming to the surface where they're so separate from the original rhythm and melody of the songs that they're jamming out. And it's been beautiful to watch that solidify and start to take shape as well with the band. All right, we've come to the end of the show. We want to hear from you. We have a voicemail line set up for everyone, Goose fans, Goose Chicks, to share their experiences with Goose and with the jam band scene. You can call us at 704-275-3128 to leave us a message, and it might get played on the show like the ones we played today. Again, that number is 704-275-3128.
Goose Chicks podcast is produced by Leslie Mack with support from sound engineer Matt Dwyer, co-host Alexius Lipo, and contributors Chelsea Long, that's me, and Hannah Liebreich.
We want to give special thanks to our sponsor, Ben & Jerry's, for their support, especially Jay Curley, Jay Tandon, their entire teams. We are a proud member of the Osiris Media family. You can check us out on socials at Goose Chicks Pod and on our website, goosechickspod.com, where you can also find our very first merch drop and buy a few things because they're really dope.
Remember to subscribe and leave us a review in your favorite podcast app. Also, tell a friend about the show. It really helps us out. Don't forget to call our number and leave us a message at 704-275-3128. Until next time, be kind to each other out there. And remember, keep it Ted.
That's right. Keep it Ted. We're going to leave you off with one last interview. This one is with Heather in San Francisco, and let's see what she had to say.
Okay, what's your first name and where are you from? My name's Heather. I'm from Santa Cruz. Awesome. How did you discover Goose? Through my partner, Dustin, actually. He introduced them to me. They were playing a show at the Catalyst. They were opening for Pigeons in Santa Cruz, and that opened my eyes to them. Love it. Yeah. How would you describe Goose's sound to someone who's never heard them before? High energy fun. High energy fun, yeah. Love it. What's your favorite way to share your love of Goose with other people? Trying to get them to go to a show. Mm-hmm. I think the live experience, you can listen to a bunch of shows, but the live experience really, I think, knits you into the whole thing. For sure. What Goose lyric is stuck in your head right now? My love, it grows out like a vine from Western Sun. What's the most creative Goose-related gift you've received or given? Can the set list be it? Yeah. I got a set list, and then I got creative with it by putting it into an old frame and painting it. Oh, cute. Yeah. I love that. Last question. How has Goose's music impacted your life? Amen. Worth it. It is worth it. The positive experiences that we get out of it, that we share with other people, just can't be recreated. And every time we do a Goose show, I'm like, let's add more, because it's always just a great experience. The best Goose show is always the next Goose show. Absolutely, for sure. Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Heather. Thanks for sharing. That got us a good laugh. Her husband was like, it's expensive. It is. Anyways, thanks, y'all. We'll talk to you next time. And thanks for listening. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Osiris.